Did I buy entirely too many things recently? Yes. But did I justify it to myself? Also yes. Forgotten how to do this, y'all. So this is kind of at the top of my TBR right now, and I really like the cat is doing something they shouldn't. Hi, hello, welcome, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Courtney, and here on my channel, Book Strings and Things, I share with you all of my bookish things, anything string related, so yarn, knitting, embroidery, spinning, quilting sometimes, which I really need to get back into, but that's an issue for another day. And then all the other life things, so lifestyle, and my cats, who will probably make an appearance at some point in this video, and my artwork. So let's get started. All right, this week I have a book haul and an art supply and art things haul, because there was more than just supplies that happened. So let's start off with the books. So I bought several books, some of which I didn't need probably, but it happens. I hadn't been book shopping since probably about April, around my birthday, but it was my spouse's birthday and we're both giant book nerds. So we went up to Burlington, and both for my birthday and for his birthday, we kind of did the same thing. We did a 3 bookstore book tour stop thing. We went to 3 bookstores, one of which was of course Barnes & Noble, and I may have gotten sucked in by that buy one get one half off thing, but that's another problem for past me, or bank account me. But we went there, and then we went to 2 independent bookstores that we really love. So I mostly got fall books, things that I'm going to want to read in the upcoming months, now that we're in the Burr months. I am all about all things spooky, and I'm really into thrillers right now, but I love dark academia, and that to me is always fall vibes. So I've got several books that kind of fall into those categories. First up is a book I already had a copy of. So I already have a copy of Babel by R.F. Kuang, and I've been wanting to read this for at least a year since it came out, because it is straight up dark academia. So I am very excited to have this, because the edition that I have, and I'll pop in a clip, it is the, I want to say Illumicrate, it might be Alcrate, but it's the really nice edition with the sprayed edges. It comes in a case, and it makes a nice crackling sound when you open it, and I am terrified to read it. I'm terrified to pick it up, because I'm worried I'm going to harm it in some way, because I love that book already and I've not read it. So I have had it for a year since it came out, and I've not read it because I'm afraid of harming it. So, and I've tried to get it from my library a couple times, but it's such a long book. It's like 548 pages. And I just can't finish it in time. And there's always a hold on it. So I get like 3 pages in. And then I give up, because I'm like, I'm not going to finish this in the 2 weeks that I have it for, and I can't renew it because someone else has a hold on it. And then by the time you get back through the hold list again, you've forgotten everything you read the first time. So I got a paperback copy of it. Super excited about this. I have a trip coming up, a couple trips actually, and I'm going to be reading this on the plane because it's paperback. It's so much lighter, easier to carry in my carry-on, my work bag. So very excited to finally read Babel and catch up with the rest of the bookish world. Then I picked up a copy of Dracula, because I realized A, I didn't have a copy, and B, I hadn't read Dracula. I've seen it. I've seen a live action radio version of it, which was really cool. And we're actually going to go see a live action outdoor performance of it later this month. So I really want to read Dracula before we go to that performance. So this is kind of at the top of my TBR right now, and I really liked the cat is doing something they shouldn't. All right, I have to go check and see what he's doing, because it does not sound good. Okay, we're back. We also have a a crinkle bat in case I need to distract the cat again. Anyway, Dracula. We're gonna go see a performance of Dracula later this month, so I really want to read this. Really liked this edition. I love the cover. I think it's super pretty, and it's also paperback, so that's easy for me to take on the plane with me. Maybe I should take this instead of Babel. So we're gonna move this one up as soon as I finish the 2 books I'm currently reading. Probably should have started this. It's fine. Hi, can I put this down? Yeah, you're in the way. And then this is where I got in trouble. So, you walk into Barnes & Noble and they have those tables that are basically traps of buy one, get one 50% off. Yeah. So, and why is it that my brain is like, oh, we must get the 150% off when I'm really just spending like an extra $8 that I didn't need to spend or intend to spend? Like, I don't have to get the one half off. I really don't. But you can't tell me that when I have one of them in my hand and not a second one. So I saw this, anything with the word like magic and witches, like that type of fantasy. I don't do like the high fantasy, that's the word. I don't do a lot of high fantasy. That's a little too much for me, but anything witches. If it has a witch in it or on it or remotely related to it, then I'm going to probably buy it and read it. So that happened. So the blurb on the cover says, a diverse coven of witches, an enchanted history, and an absolute delight of a magical tale. Yeah, I was immediately sucked in. I have no real idea what this is about, but it had witches and it was 50% off if I bought another book, or the other book would be 50% off. So yeah, this happened. So because of this, I got this. I am trying to read through all of Riley Sager's books. I started with Lock Every Door. That one got me. So absolutely loved that one. Then I read House Across the Lake. I'm like, okay, all right, I can get behind this author. So Riley Sager is another super popular author that the library has their books, but they're always checked out. So I picked up this because it had the 50% off sticker, and it is on my TBR. So like, at least I didn't buy books that I wasn't already intending to read, except for this one. I don't think this was on my TBR, but so we at least picked up one that was on the TBR for half off. So excited to read this. This needs to go lower down on the priority list, even though I'm in a super like thriller mood right now. But I've got to read Dracula. That has to be a priority. I'm telling myself that. I'm gonna will it into happening. So we have this. Then at one of the independent bookstores we went to, if you are ever in either the Burlington or Rutland areas, Phoenix Books, phenomenal indie bookstore. I really like the one in Burlington. Their entire basement is clearance books. So that's what happened here. I have to remove the sticker because it's driving me insane, but I picked this up for $9. I've been wanting to read this book since it came out, but it's also very, very large and intimidating, and it's one that I was going to absolutely buy anyway because anything, fiction or nonfiction, having to do with W.E.B. Du Bois, I am going to read. He is one of my personal heroes. I do graphic design for work, and he is one of the pioneers in the field of data visualization. His data portraits of Black America in the late 1800s that were shown at the Paris World Fair, amazing. Absolutely. I had the opportunity to see them in person in New York City this past April. Cried. Just the things he was able to do without computers, without the technology that we have today, are absolutely mind-blowing. I just, so much respect. So anything remotely related to W.E.B. Du Bois, as an educator, as someone who does graphic design, absolutely love. So excited to read this. Probably won't pick this up until spring because to me it just gives me spring vibes. I don't know what it is about it, but it just, to me, it's a little more warm season. So this one I probably won't pick up this year. We'll see though. That was a long tangent for this book, but that's fine because love. And $9. Very excited about that. Then the other book that I picked up at one of the indie bookstores was The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. V.E. Schwab is kind of hit and miss for me. I absolutely loved Gathering of Magic, Darker Shade of Magic. I don't know if you can see them, but they're up there on my shelf. Those are some of my favorite books, so I thought I would like the rest of her work. And I read Gallant, did not really enjoy that. And Secret Life of Addie LaRue is kind of meh on, so I'm giving it another shot. It has the word witch in the title, so I was like, we'll try that. We'll see if I do like this book. Do I really have any idea what this is about? No, but I think it was on some fall spooky witchy reading list on Goodreads. So yes, I like to go into my books mostly blind. Like, I just need to know the genre and a little bit about a character or something. Obviously, one having a witch in it will immediately get me to pick it up. So we will see how this goes for spooky season. Stay tuned. And then, thanks to TikTok and Instagram, I got sucked into the hype for this book. So normally I really would not have picked this up, mostly because of the cover. I do not like this cover. It does not do it for me. I am a cover buy person a lot of the time, but I'm excited to try this. I've seen several of my favorite art YouTubers do little series with this book, going through all the different parts. So I will link some of their videos down below. Hopefully I can convince myself to read this. I don't do a lot of, to me this kind of gives like self-help vibes. I don't do self-help books. That is not my thing, but I've heard such good things about this book. I'm willing to give it a try. So we will see if this comes up in upcoming videos. We're gonna try, but not right now. That's for later. So for now, let's switch over to the art supply haul.
All right, actually that was a little bit of a lie because I forgot that I had footage of visiting the art store. So on the way down the stairs, they have this really cool mural that they are still working on. The store's been open for about a year and a half, 2 years, and they have a really great selection of both gouache and watercolor paints. I needed to pick up a couple to replace some that I had used up, so we grabbed some paint. There we go. Then I also needed to pick up a couple of brushes. I needed something for finer detail, and again, they have a really, really nice selection. Overall, I just love this store. The owner is super nice, and the employees are always able to help you if you have any questions. So if you are ever in the town of Middlebury in Vermont, absolutely check out Sparrow Art Supply. And I will also have their website linked down below. Alright, so I made it home with my art supplies, and the audio from these clips is gone. So ignore my hand gestures because I'm trying to remember what I was saying when I recorded this the first time. But I'm going to start off showing you the two really big things that I got, and then I can fix the camera angle so I can show you the other stuff. But I got 2 pieces of pressed paper. This one is trees for spooky season. It'll be a really nice background, either for taking photos for Instagram or pictures of my sketchbook. I've got a couple spooky doodles I've been working on, so I just really, really loved this pattern and the texture of the paper. And then I also got this cream colored one. It has little flecks throughout it of other colors, which is really interesting, and the texture again is really nice. I like to have either craft paper or some white like butcher block paper or something like this down on my desk while I am painting or drawing, because my desk that I use for my artwork is also my work desk, and I don't want to get anything on it that would damage it. I have a really nice standing desk, so I try to protect the surface of it. And also that way I can scribble notes on the paper or whatever, test out a marker or a pen or something. So I like having some type of paper to put down. I also might use this one for Instagram, again, as a background, just to have some variety. So those are the two papers that I got. Now let's get into the other art supplies. All right, so these are the other art supplies that I picked up when I was at Sparrow. Okay, so let's start with the brushes here. So I needed a couple of brushes just for some more detail work in some of the commission pieces that I've got. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus here. There we go. All right, so I got a couple of different brushes. The first one I got was the Princeton Select Liner number 2. That's for some fine detail work for lining. I'm doing some bookstore prints right now. Then I also picked up a chisel blender. That one I'm going to use for doing some brickwork. I needed something really small, and I didn't have a brush small enough recently when I was working on something. And then I also grabbed an angle shader so that I can do a couple different techniques, and it's just a brush that I didn't have in my collection. I actually started keeping a list in my phone of the brushes that I have, so when I'm out at an art store, I know which ones I have and which ones I don't have, so I'm not buying duplicates, and I can add to my collection and have the range of brushes that I need. But those are the brushes that I picked up, and I will swatch these in a little bit just so I can see kind of what the lines look like and if they're going to perform the way that I hope that they will. So we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, next up I have the paints that I picked up. I grabbed a Van Dyke brown. I have a brown that I've mixed myself and I really, really didn't like it. And so I just gave up and bought Van Dyke brown. And then I am running low on these two colors, so I grabbed some more because I know I'm going to use them. I'm currently working on, and if you saw in the last video, a book of swatches with all of my paints mixed together. So even the lemon yellow mixed with the Winsor yellow to see what types of yellow I can get. So I've got my cool reds, my warm reds, and that gives me a better idea if I'm doing a commission or if I'm even just working on a project for myself. I can see the range of colors that I can get without having to mix and test and mix and test. I already have a starting point. So I'll do a flip through of that probably once I've finished that swatch book, but because I'm doing so much swatching right now, I'm really like burning through a lot of this paint, so I needed to grab some more. And then I picked up two sets to go in my mini palette. Let me grab that really quickly. Okay, so this is my travel palette. So it is the Pocket Palette by Art Toolkit. It is really, really slim and it's magnetic. It's all metal and it's got, well, it doesn't come with these. I bought everything separately, so you get the outer pan and then you can decide which pans you want to put in there, but I really need to clean this. So I've had this for a little while and I use it anytime I'm doing travel sketching and any plein air painting that I'm doing. Absolutely love this palette. All of the pans are removable. They just pop out. They're magnetic and it's really handy. However, I saw my friend Beth, who owns Sparrow Art Supply. She had an additional mixing space because I just don't have enough space to mix all of the different colors that I would like to be able to mix. The flat surface just isn't enough for me. So I grabbed the mixing palette so that I can kind of customize this even further. And with some of these little pans, I can put the colors I don't use as often. Brown especially, like the brown that I really hate. I can put the black and the gray in there because I don't use those quite as much as I do some of the other colors. So I'm going to kind of reorganize this palette, clean it out, and add both the little pans and also the mixing palette in. So we'll do that here in a second, but I'm really excited to reorganize this. And then I grabbed another block of watercolor paper. I really like the block because it keeps the paper from wrinkling and warping. However, that means if I'm not done with a project, it has to stay on the block until I'm finished with it. So I needed another in this size so I could work on multiple projects, because sometimes I'm just like not sure if a piece is done yet or not and it needs a minute, but I have something else I want to work on in the meantime. So I needed a second block in this size. And then finally, we did not need it, but we really wanted it, and I had $5 off. So I grabbed this really cute hat that has Sparrow's name embroidered on the back, and it says gouache. And I am trying to get better at gouache, get into gouache more. I actually have a class that's coming up that I'm going to take on gouache illustration. So this is kind of my motivation, and it's just super cute. And I love the word gouache. It just makes me smile. So we're gonna do a lot more gouache soon. So I'm going to test out each one of these brushes, and I have the paints that I bought, but I'm not going to swatch either of these because I already have those in my swatch book, but I am going to go ahead and swatch the brown to see how I like it. And then after I've tested these, just to kind of see what kind of lines I can get with this, I'm going to take the new palette inserts and kind of redo my travel palette a little bit. But I'm going to use my Ugly sketchbook for this. It's mixed media paper, so I just use it to swatch and to just do little doodles and practice drawings. So do I want to do it on the back page of that? Sure, why not? All right. So typically I try to use a crappy brush for mixing the paint. That way I'm not getting too much paint around where the bristles insert into the metal and having to like really try really hard to wash that out, because then you're going to damage the glue and stuff that's in there. So I use this probably a kid's brush. I don't know, I've had it forever. Like, it loses bristles all the time, but I don't really care because it's just for mixing and I don't care how hard I am on it. And that way I can keep my other brushes nicer for longer. So let's see how this mixes up. A little more water, I think. So I'm gonna do just a little wet on dry to see what the lines look like here. This first one is the Princeton Select Chisel Blender. I want to use this a little bit more for some architecture drawings and kind of making smaller bricks, kind of this pattern. So I like the bristles are pretty springy on this. I don't have to apply a lot of pressure to get a nice even stroke right there. And it does have, you can kind of see a little bit of the bristle texture in this stroke. And I like that because it just gives it some variety. It doesn't look smooth and solid and perfect, which is just not my preferred style. So I like that there's some variation and you can see kind of individual lines within the brush strokes. Yeah, so that'll be a nice little brush for doing some architectural things. Let's see what it looks like just to use the edge. It does decent little lines, so if I was going somewhere and had to choose only a couple brushes to take, this one could do double duty on some things. So, all right, let's clean that one off. So now we're going to use the Princeton Select liner. It's number 2 liner. All right, so just kind of trying to see what kind of thickness I can get. Thinner lines. So yeah, it's fairly easy to do a really fine line with just the very end, and then applying some pressure you can get a little bit more. I think it'll do really well, especially for finer detail. All right, and then last we have the Angular Shader, another brush I didn't have. This one, the bristles are pretty firm, but they also have a very soft texture. Like they're packed in there tightly, so it's a firm brush, but they feel very, very soft. So I'm interested to see what we can do with this one. So kind of a thicker line if I do that, and then some nice crisp edges, which is what I really liked this brush for and wanted to add one. And I also, so to add texture, I do tend to sometimes let the brush dry, just because you can get, especially like wood grain, different textures like that. So this one looks really nice when it's drier like that. All right, so let's clean that one off and pull out the palette and see how I want to arrange that. All right, so I need to clean this. But I think I'm gonna start by taking all of these pans out, just so I can see how many of the little ones plus some of these that I can fit in with this, because this large mixing pan is my priority. So once that struggle was over with, I ended up cleaning out this palette, giving it a good wash, and cleaning out 3 of the pans of colors that I didn't really use that often, so I could fill those with some primaries, and then I could have all of the half pans for my convenience colors. All right, so these have dried overnight, so I can pop them in to my palette, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of quick rearranging just because I want the red and yellow next to each other. All right. Wow, there is really such a difference between these warm shades and cool shades. That's why it's good to have both options in your palette. So, all right, perfect. Now I'm just gonna slot all of these in, and I'll speed this up really quick. All right, so that is my updated travel palette, just in time for the trip that I leave for tomorrow. I'm excited to test this out. I think I have all the colors that I would want in here. So that's it for this week's video. Stay tuned for the next one, where you will see me using this palette on my trip to Chicago. All right, I will catch you in the next one.